UJR Urban Jungles Radio.
Our next guest this evening has had a really amazing experience that I want to share with you as a precautionary tale, if anything. Earlier last year, my guest allowed Animal Planet to film his collection for a TV show, not knowing that they would pose a direct threat both to his animals, his family, even his livelihood in some ways. So here to tell us about this harrowing tale, I would like you to please help us welcome Danny Steele to the show. Danny, are you here?
Hi, how you guys doing?
Hey, Danny, how are you, buddy?
How are you?
Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for making it through. Holy cow, what an experience, man. I don't even know where to begin on this with you. Good Lord. I mean, this is literally everybody's nightmare in this day and age. To have an opportunity. I mean, I don't know the whole story. I know that there's that publication out there that Dean Repa put out. I read through that, and obviously, you know, there's a lot of different angles here. So I wanted to talk to you about what it was that actually went down, because this is seems to be pretty bad, like a pretty bad deal all the way around. And I think it's something that we need to warn people about, because the bottom line is Animal Planet is not your friend. None of these networks are your friends. We're going to convey that in a lot of different ways tonight, but I mean, what's the deal? You have some animals in your collection. What kind of animals do you have in your collection?
Most of our animals are the larger constrictors, reticulated pythons, Burmese pythons, green and yellow anacondas. That kind of takes up the majority of our collection, and then we also have some smaller species of snakes. We have a lot of ball pythons and a handful of venomous snakes also, okay. Along with monitors. But that's about the gist of our collection.
Now, I'm assuming that you're legally keeping all these animals. You have all required permits, and you're within all the statutes of your local town, right?
Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest things from this is we've gotten hate mail from literally like thousands. The day this was aired, my Facebook page like completely blew up. I started getting messages from people all around the world saying that they had started funds to take my children away. And the biggest thing that I wanted to like tell people is that if Winston Card knew that he could get away with that, that would have been in that series. They would have went down that road. But we're in a completely legal state. Our county is exotic everything. There's no permit systems. There's no requirements. There's absolutely nothing. We used to live in Greenville County, and they changed their laws in Greenville County, so we actually moved out of the county into another county that did allow them.
So you're fully within your rights to keep these animals and you know, responsibly. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So how did they initially contact you? I mean, what was the situation, and how did they learn about your animals?
The first contact, it took a while for them to actually get in touch with us, because when I had first heard about it, I thought it was kind of like a hoax or something, or like some kind of scam or something. A lady sent me a message on Facebook, and it says, "Dear Danny, I hope you and your family are well. I work for a television production company specializing in wildlife documentaries in London, England, and I was drawn to your Facebook page and how many gorgeous snakes you have in your family. Have you ever been on television? If not, have you ever thought about it? I think it'd be such great viewing to see a family all devoted to these glorious pets, and your kids seem to be really happy around them. It would be fantastic for people to see. Not all kids are terrified of reptiles. I look forward from you once you have read all this, and love to speak to you on the phone if you send me your number. All the best. Happy holidays, Charlotte Pruitt, TV researcher."
Okay, wait, stop there. Let me just stop you there a second. Now, that to the average keeper is exciting, especially if you are proud of your animals in your collection, which I'm assuming you are, because right. I mean, who isn't really? Who's heavily into these animals? So that is, you know, pretty exciting. You just got a message from a TV producer in London, England, and they're like, hey, you have beautiful animals, you know, we want to show them off, and so they're totally kissing your ass here, and you know, buttering you up. Okay, so that was the initial contact. So you talked to them. What did at any point did they explain to you what the TV show was going to be about?
No, it took, I don't know how they actually got my phone number. I never actually gave them my phone number. I kind of, I talked to her a little bit over Facebook and then kind of blew it off for a little while because it still didn't seem exactly like legit. And what I didn't understand was why, a company in London was trying to find, you know, someone in America, because I know, you know, that there are keepers, overseas that have animals too. Why they wouldn't find someone, you know, close instead of having to fly out all the way over here. And then she called me at work and started talking to me. And when I talked to her on the phone, I kind of got a little bit, you know, more comfortable with it. I thought that, you know, maybe she is legit. And we talked about it and what they were filming. It was supposed to be a wildlife documentary about normal people keeping these animals as pets, and she kept, you know, positive influence, and I kept making sure that, you know, this was supposed to be a positive type thing, that, because that's, I mean, my thing, I have a lot of friends, in South Carolina is a huge venomous state. We have no laws against venomous animals, and our shows have venomous animals, so there's a lot of people that keep that here, and, as this industry is a multi-million-dollar industry, and it's getting bigger and bigger every day. And normal people are curious about how we keep these animals. And with all the laws coming up, we can't just keep hiding and pretending that, you know, maybe they'll go away if we don't get bit, or if our snakes don't make the news or something. And that's not going to happen. The laws are going to come regardless of what we do, and we need to show them that we keep our animals essentially the exact same way every AZA zoo keeps their animals behind the scenes. Okay. We use the same caging, the same rack systems, all of that. And that's what we went for, and it completely changed. It was supposed to show how, you know, we live with these with no accidents, no problems at all, and how to go about getting a career in herpetology, like based around these animals.
So they totally suckered you. I mean, it was just, they snowed you. I mean, no doubt about it.
And Animal Planet was never mentioned. This was Oxford Scientific Films, and she said at first they told me it would only be in London, that's where it would be aired. I didn't find out about Animal Planet until they got here. 2 people had flown out here to meet us, and kind of filmed just our snakes, really. And they told me, you know, that they sell their stuff to Discovery Network, that we would be on Discovery Channel. They still didn't say anything about Animal Planet. I didn't know at the time that Discovery Network is basically Animal Planet also. Like they're all owned together. Mm-hmm. So I had no idea about that. And then they flew back and then flew a week later to start the actual filming.
Unbelievable. That's the thing a lot of people don't understand too, is in these situations, it's never Animal Planet directly. Animal Planet never directly contacts you. Animal Planet doesn't do their own filming. They hire out production companies. Production companies will basically do the filming. Oftentimes, they'll either be contracted ahead of time by the networks, or they'll just be shopping stuff. They'll come up with ideas and film it, and, you know, cut like a pilot and then try to sell it to these networks, you know, depending on what it is. So you had no idea that it was going to be going to any of these networks. As far as you know, you were dealing with the production company. Now, let's bring in the expert here that they brought along with them, Mr. Winston Card. Had you heard of Winston prior to his showing up at your place for this?
I had never heard of him. They gave me a little bit of background from him, that he, you know, he had worked at the Dallas Zoo for several years, and he had worked at, you know, various other zoos. And I don't know, it was strange when I met him. What we do mostly is the whole genetics thing. We try to breed our snakes to come up, with all the different morphs. And we started talking about that, and he had no idea about genetics and snakes at all. He didn't know what recessive morphs were, what recessive meant. He didn't like catch on to any of that. I thought that was a little strange, because even if you've worked with these animals, you kind of, that comes. The Dallas
Dude, that's
Zoo
basic biology.
Yeah.
It's basic high school biology, really. You should know how to use a Punnett square, know what recessive genes are not. So, okay, so let's back up a little bit here. Winston Card. Winston Card is the individual that showed up and who they coined their expert or their herpetologist. Now, I feel that I should let our audience know that I'm familiar with Winston Card. He was I wouldn't say high profile person, but his name was known in the reptile circles, in herpetological circles, mainly because he was a zookeeper. He was a zookeeper at the Cincinnati Zoo, and he was a zookeeper at the Dallas Zoo, where I think he became the head zookeeper for a while. He was very prolific in writing magazine articles, so a lot of his articles appeared in Vivarium and Reptiles magazine. I'm familiar with him because of his work with the Milwaukee Public Museum and neotropical tree boas. He had taken several trips down to the neotropics and had photographed these snakes and stuff. So I can see where somebody unknowingly would think him to be an expert because of his experience over the years. Now, the sad fact of the matter is, if you look deeper into this is an individual who almost unanimously across the boards is very disliked by everybody, and especially the herpetocultural community. It seems that breeders especially have a problem with him. And a lot of it had to do with his attitude and his pseudoscience.
What do you mean?
He got under a lot of people's skin because he thought he knew things and he really didn't. He would preach things like I can't really elaborate on it only because I can't give you a solid example, but tree boa stuff. Like he would talk about tree boas with complete authority, even though it was written, things about them were written completely differently, like things on diet and variation, things like that. So he would try to talk with this kind of scientific.
So because he had articles in Vivarium and Reptiles and went down to the neotropics, he was considered the quote unquote expert herpetologist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, essentially. He had a job he followed. But fast forward now, I don't know where they picked him up or how they picked him up for this, but they
desperation on his part, maybe.
Possibly. A lot of times these production companies will put out, and I've seen many of these. As a matter of fact, I had one sent to me last week. They'll put out kind of like call sheets, and essentially what they'll say is, we're looking for an animal expert who has expertise in these topics. And then that's it. And then you can put out a call to them, and they'll talk to you if they want to use you. Now, I'm no stranger to this stuff. I've done several TV shows myself. Some of them I'm not too proud of.
That's right. He's a star.
No, some of them are fun. I will admit it. So I know how these production companies work, and I know how they just be. I'm not just talking out of my ass. I've had personal experience with them. As a matter of fact, I just got out of a contract very, very less than 6 months ago with a major production company. So trust me, Jungle Junkies, when I tell you, I know what I'm talking about. These people are just so scummy sometimes because they don't care about the bottom line. They're trying to sell a product, and they often don't care about the collateral damage involved in this, as Danny, you found out. So fast forward now, these people are at your place, they're in your house filming. You think that they're there to celebrate your collection. You're very proud to show them off, obviously, as most herpers are. At what point do you realize things are starting to turn a little sour for you?
I started to notice, it was actually after we had left. We had certain rules at our house that, they didn't say any of this. There's actually, today was the first day I had actually watched the program. My wife and my younger brother watched it when it aired. I didn't want to watch it because I was really upset. We tried really hard to get it to not air. We had talked to attorneys and everything and to see if there was anything we could do about it. It ended up airing, and I was just I was really, really upset because I knew, they didn't get an actual ending because of the stuff that me and Winston had gone through. But they had, Winston took me to the Dallas Zoo and he also took me to the Kentucky Reptile Zoo. When we got to the Dallas Zoo, it was great. They basically gave me full access to everything reptile. I had a camera, and I got to go basically do whatever I want to see, all the different animals. I had a blast. I got to hold a parenti, got to feed their Nile crocs. I was having a great time. Then at the Dallas Zoo, it was mostly we would debate about giant pythons and how unsafe they are in home captivity, how quickly they can overpower you, and the Lacey Act, because right before this, I had just hatched out our first clutch of reticulated pythons.
Nice.
So I had 40 babies, baby reticulated pythons, and they were talking about, with the new Lacey Act laws with Burmese and yellow anacondas and African rocks, that they were eventually, going to get reticulated pythons on there, and then I would be stuck with all the babies and all that. And I had a really good debate with their curator of reptiles about safety and whatnot, and what we do in our house for safety. And I actually taught him the door to their reticulated python enclosure is very, very small. You actually have to crawl into it. And I told him, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. We have sliding glass doors that I can actually take completely off and have 8 feet of space to move back and forth if I had to. I wouldn't feel comfortable crawling into a cage with an adult retic.
Naturally.
And it didn't really, I kind of felt wary after that because they just kind of kept, coming on to me. And then when we got to the Kentucky Reptile Zoo, there was one moment where we had went out to lunch. We had done a little bit of filming, and Kristen and Jim rode with me and Winston, and we had stopped, and Winston had paid the bill for the food or something, and we had all gotten into the car before he had gotten in, and they were kind of talking to me, coming as he was coming out, and that made me really uneasy, just because what they were kind of saying, they were asking me, what they had told me the film was going to be about, and they had told me, what they had told them what the film was going to be about and everything, and it wasn't adding up. They didn't tell them that this was supposedly for fatal attractions either. They told them something completely different also. And then Jim told me, just that I was good with all the debates that we had already went over, and just to kind of keep calm, and that, he thought that I was doing a great job, and I was, he said, you're showing your hobby in a positive light, and he's like, just keep doing that. And at the end, I did kind of lose my temper with Winston, but me and him had been constantly arguing for about 2 days.
About what? Your animals? I mean, is it arguing about stuff specifically to do with your animals, or just general?
Basically, there's a lot of stuff that Winston talked about that I didn't agree with. There was they kind of, with my venomous reptiles, I am the only one that messes with them. We had the room closed off, the doors are locked. They also said something about the paper thin door. It's not paper thin. We're actually going to make a video showing me hit against it. And there's also a wooden door that locks behind that door that they didn't show either. They mentioned nothing about that. There's 2 doors separating snakes from our children, both of which are locked. But that room is maybe 12 by 12. So I don't really, we're getting a building, where I have more space to work with these animals, because, we do have cobras, and they are quick, and it's kind of hard to work with them in there in that little space. And then you put 6 other people in there, one who has a huge camera, a sound guy who is stuck in a corner, with a huge sound train stuck against our roof, and Winston right up beside me. I was so nervous. I didn't want to do anything with the venomous. I told them that. They kept pushing that on me. But I was more concerned about them getting bit, because if I did drop the cobra, there was nothing like I could have done about that.
There's no room to maneuver. It's just a safety issue. I mean,
exactly. And they used a lot of camera tricks. They said that I had stuck my hands in a cobra tank to lift it up to see where she was. That wasn't true at all. The cobra had actually already been moved. The cameraman had actually wanted to see, when she was younger, she would kind of like dig tunnels inside of the mulch, and if you lifted it up, you could actually see all the spots she had went. So we were actually lifting it up to show the camera guy the tunnels. The cobra wasn't ever in the cage, and there was another part where he said that I took my eyes off the rattlesnake, but if you watch it, it doesn't actually show the tank as we're talking, and it doesn't show that for a reason. The rattlesnake isn't actually in the tank right there. So there's a lot of camera tricks that they use to make me look like I'm doing stuff that I'm not actually doing, but even if I were, another thing with Animal Planet's experts are there's shows on there like, Wild Recon. My kids watched an episode of that the other day where Donald Schultz had a rattlesnake on a snake hook, and he constantly, was looking at the camera and not the snake. And I mean, he knows what he's doing, but
don't get me started, please.
And then Gator Boys, they call those guys experts too, and they're kissing cobras. So if I can't take my eyes off a snake, nobody needs to. So.
We're very familiar with the hypocrisy behind, what they do and how they paint people. I mean, even now we're seeing, you mentioned Donald Schultz. Okay, Venom in Vegas, he was locked in a box with, all the venomous snakes. And then fast forward, 3 years later, and he's now going around telling people what animals are, they can and can't have, and doing the same thing with that whole entire hoarder thing. So believe me, we know how that is. Now, they were essentially trying to paint a picture of you being an irresponsible and unsafe keeper. They managed to do that with editing and camera angles and stuff like that. And that alone, let me tell you, is just infuriating. I have to give you credits for not going to jail after this incident, because I can't say that I wouldn't myself personally. Make it look like an accident when nobody's looking, just smash his head through the cobra tank or something. Sorry, I'll talk to you about that later. But anyway,
come on.
No, so all right, so they're painting this picture of you now, and they're doing all this stuff to make you look like a bad keeper, and that's crazy enough. But on top of that, now they're having side chats with your kids.
Yeah.
What the hell? I mean, please enlighten me. What actually happened with that? Because I read a little bit of it, and I just immediately went blind with fury.
Calm down.
No, seriously, what happened? Now, they approached your kids about this and started whispering things into your kids' ear?
The thing that actually set me off, and the reason that they got the whole ending of that show where I was, I was pissed off at Winston. I wanted to hit him, but there were cameras everywhere. My kids, if you look at our front porch where we were sitting at, our living room is directly on the other side of that wall. And there is our couch for our living room, and that's where our kids were at. They were in there watching TV. I have very, very curious children, and they listen very intently on any conversation you have. He had said, that he told my entire family that I would be bitten and I would die. And
what?
I said, I was so pissed off that I did say, I'll never be bitten, this, that, because my kids were on the other side of the wall. And I'm fully aware that, they're wild animals. I have no idea what they're going to do. And I could very well be bitten, even though he was comparing me to, Jim at Kentucky Reptile Zoo. There's a very big difference in what Jim does and what I do.
Yeah.
I'm a private keeper. I water my snakes every day. I don't milk them. I don't touch them. My hands don't go anywhere near them. So there's, he has quite a significant higher risk than I do. But my kids, we don't dwell on the fact that, I'm going to get bitten. And I don't want them thinking about that. When he said that, Aiden, my 5-year-old, had thought he said that I was bitten. He started crying, and that just it blew me off because my 2 kids had thought, that, and they're very knowledgeable of snakes. They know what their venom does. They know the different types of venoms. They know what cobra venom does, what rattlesnake venom does. They're very knowledgeable about their snakes, so they got very, very scared when it happened.
Sure.
And it just...
You're their dad.
That was when I had enough. And the filming was supposed to go on for 2 days after that, but we kicked them off.
How long did the filming... Were they actually sitting there filming with you at your place? I know you went places with them.
Almost 4 weeks.
Wow. Good Lord.
That's 3 weeks too long after everything you've just said, Dan.
That's 3 weeks and 5 days too long after
That's
everything
horrible.
you've said.
Holy cow. I don't even have kids, and I want to strangle these people for you.
Man, let me tell you, first of all, personally, I couldn't think of 2 worse things to mess with: my animals and my kids.
No, hell no.
It's death, man. Seriously, that's crazy. There'd be just zero tolerance for that. So I have to applaud you, Danny, because you did represent keepers well in not getting violent. Because honestly, I could see that could probably be something that they would be happy about, and I wouldn't doubt it if they were pushing for something along those lines, just to show how unstable you are.
Absolutely. How much you want to
Winston actually tried to get my brother to hit him. When I had went back inside to talk to my kids, and he actually tried to talk to my brother. He asked if he wanted to hit him for me, and he said no, that he was crazy because there were cameras everywhere and all of that.
So wait, hold on. He just came out and said to your brother, "Do you want to hit me?"
Yeah. It was my brother, my wife, my younger cousin, and my mother's boyfriend were standing outside on our porch, and he asked him that.
So they come into your house, they fuck with your animals, they mess with your kids, they try to get a physical reaction from you, all after telling you that they want to come, celebrate your animals and put them in a good light, and then just totally come around and screw you.
Yeah.
Danny, that's absurd, dude. I don't even know what to tell you.
I am stupefied. This is unbelievable.
I'm not. I'm really not.
You're not, because you've experienced it, but someone like myself, I guess I'm so naive, no offense, Danny, but you were given a certain description, and of course I'd believe it too. But the way they just spun it and turned it around, and then to have this jackass try and have your brother hit him.
Man, and it's such insult to injury that it's not even if it was Jim, all right? If they had Jim as their expert, I'd be like, fine, whatever Jim says, Jim, complete authority.
The 8.5-fingered man, Jim. He can be the expert.
He can be the expert. He knows his stuff, right? But on top of that, the expert that they stuck you with was a guy he's currently working at a dollar store or something, or he's a cab driver or something, isn't he? I mean, he's not even really in the field anymore, for crying out loud, because no one can stand his ass. I swear to God, he works.
It's actually funny you mentioned that, because when we were at the Dallas Zoo, there was actually, I'm not sure if he was a zookeeper or what he actually did there, but he didn't like Winston, and Winston was asking the curator if he still worked there. He said, yeah, but he doesn't want to see you. So it's actually funny that you had mentioned something about that.
Yeah, it's true, man. The guy, it's just, it's ridiculous, and it's such a kick in the ass that not only did they do this to you, but they did this to you with this guy and in this way, and it's come on, dude, seriously, you get a call from London, it's legit.
Of course, anything from London is legit.
And it had scientific in the name to boot.
Exactly.
So, you're going to be totally sold. I mean, I know I would have been, even as an expert. Like I said, even as somebody who knew better, I've done it myself, Danny. So, I want to get that point out just because I know I've seen people blaming you, being like, you shouldn't have done it, you shouldn't have done it. But I completely believe that you've been suckered.
Oh, totally. Like I just said, man, they've given you this false idea of what they're going to do. And we had a couple people in the chat room that have been approached by this as well.
Yes.
They actually they play it off really, really well too, because I mean they filmed so many hours of footage. They filmed. We did a school show. We do educational school shows every year.
Nice.
And we take the animals up there. We talk to the kids. They filmed one of those. And my oldest son was super excited because he was in it. He wanted to see that on TV. They didn't put any of that in.
Why would they?
I guess it wouldn't have been scary enough.
No, there's no sensationalism
if they saw the kids. So, but they were really, really sneaky. They filmed around everything you did.
Yeah, I'm sure. They filmed it, and they're just looking for what they can get for their angle. So, all right, so they filmed your collection now. Things are getting heated. They're, putting bugs in your kid's ear, trying to get your brother to smack him around. It all ends. I mean, how did you leave off on this? I'm assuming you've been battling this since it happened, which I remember hearing about this last spring, I want to say, or early summer.
It was last year.
Yeah, so this is something that's been going on for a while now. I mean, have you been battling this along the lines? Because I know it aired in December sometime, I think, right? Yeah.
Well, what happened with it was, after the whole porch thing had happened, I kicked them out. I told them to leave. They did. They were supposed to be here for 2 more days filming. And I know Winston had left the following morning, I believe. So they didn't get their ending. They also had 2 vans pull up, wanting my venomous snakes, to take to Kentucky Reptile Zoo. Jim knew I wasn't going to get my snakes up. That was Winston's thing. Jim didn't try to get my snakes, not once. I respect that man 110%. Mm-hmm. He's great at what he does. And he warned me. He told me, that he thought this was not what they made it seem to be, and that I needed to, watch myself, watch everything I said. The other thing was the other van was supposedly a python breeder that came down here to give me $10,000 for the rest of the baby retics I had that I hadn't sold.
Was that the market value for them?
No, we actually made about $22,000.
Okay. So they're trying to rip you off. Okay, just checking.
Yeah. My biggest regret though from the whole thing is that I want to know which breeder agreed to help with that, or to do that with him. And I haven't been able to find out.
If anybody listening knows this, just drop me a private message. I'll keep it confidential, and we can get this info to Danny. Go ahead, Danny. Sorry.
I only heard him mention one big breeder's name that he knew, but I'm not going to say that because I don't have actual proof that it was in fact him.
Understand.
But yeah, that's the only thing I really want to know, because just ask them, why would you do something like that to, your industry, your hobby that's already under so much attack from everything all around.
Money, 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 money.
Yep.
Oh, dang, Danny, that's crazy, man. And I couldn't even imagine. If I were you, my stomach would have been turning knowing that this is airing. And on top of that, add insult to injury, when it airs, you are immediately depicted as a bad guy. And of course, all the freaking sheeple who watch these stupid shows, who know nothing about animals, because what they know they learn through these TV shows, are following suit and harassing you now, threatening you, making your livelihood. Has life returned to normal for you at all since all this has happened?
Not really. We've been taking extra steps, just because I have went through the whole custody battle. My oldest son was taken away from me for animals. It was the exact same reason.
What?
It was in, he was 2 years old. I believe I was 18 or 19. And my wife's grandparents actually took us to court and they said, that I had, my bedroom was full of exotic snakes that could kill my kid. At the time, I had only Burmese pythons, I believe, and a green anaconda. It was instantaneous. We went into the courtroom. She read a couple of things to the judge, saying, what we had. They instantly took our kid from us in a heartbeat. Even though the animals were not illegal, it was perfectly legal to own them. They didn't get anyone to come check out the premises or nothing. And worst feeling in the world is having a judge tell you, that you have to give your child up.
Oh my God, I couldn't even imagine.
So we've already been down that road. I fought it. It cost a lot of money. I had to pay a guardian ad litem to come to my house. It was $300 every visit. I never knew when he was coming. He would just randomly show up to make sure everything was locked. He pounded on my caging and pounded on the doors to, make sure that nothing could get out. And I hired an attorney. We went back to court and got custody of him again. So
holy
that's something
shit.
we don't.
It's crazy, man. Dude, you're living like everybody's nightmare, man. Everybody, it's crazy. Everybody talks so much about like your rights being taken away and blah, blah, blah. And you got to fight. I mean, you're like the poster child for this. You are like, that's crazy, man. And all this stemming from your love of your animals, because I mean, you just wanted to, be proud of your animals.
How dare you?
Dude, that's crazy. And then this is airing. You have all these people harassing you. Who knows when this is going to end, because those jackasses only have like 5 TV shows a season, and they're going to play it at all hours of the day. Yep. And I know this only because I still get notifications from a show that I did 10 years ago, and people like are writing me like, I saw you on History Channel. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they just keep airing this stuff. It's like, you're going to pick up, I hate to say it, Danny, but you're going to pick up a new crop of idiots every time and have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Man. Wow.
It was significantly worse the second time it aired. The first time it aired in the U.S., it actually aired on my birthday.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. Happy birthday to you.
Animal Planet's going to screw you.
We're going to come and take your zoo.
Oh, my God. That's crazy, dude. Danny, I don't even know what to tell you, man. Where are you now with this? I mean, are you still fighting it?
Yeah. Well, we tried to take them to court, just because we never agreed to do fatal attraction or anything, and it turns out like actually in their contract, they can actually sue me if I badmouth them at all or any type of thing like that on Facebook or anything. That's why I haven't actually posted a whole lot about it on Facebook. And there's a forum about me or a thread about me on ballpythons.net that I haven't really responded to. That's because I've been trying to check into the legality of it, because I don't want to get sued. Animal Planet has a lot of money. I don't have anywhere near as much money as they do. They have their own lawyers and own attorneys. So just trying to make sure that I'm covered with everything that I do say. And we've gotten to where we're ignoring all the messages and all of that stuff.
That's all you can do, man. I mean, you can only ignore that stuff. You cannot, and I'm just going to tell you this just to save you a lot of headache. Do not engage these people. Do not try to argue with them, because they're going to see things the way they want to see it, and that's it. You are already, they've already made up their minds about you.
You're public enemy number one.
Yeah, you're being made into a monster thanks to this TV show, and they're not going to see it differently. The good news is, dude, these kind of people also tend to have that memory of like a goldfish, and realistically, like in 6 months, it could all go away. And so, I mean, I wish you a lot of luck with dealing that. It's very, very difficult to deal with being in the public eye in a situation like that, especially one that's so frustrating because it is so far removed from the truth and the fact of what was actually going on and has been going on. This is a dedicated person. This is a person who's dedicated to his animals, obviously having facilities, having the experience to keep the animals he does, and not being dead so far kind of speaks some, a little bit of a testament to what he's been doing here. And, for Animal Planet to come in and shake somebody's life up like that and then be a bully about it and be like, yeah, you can't say anything about this. It's just total bullshit. So I'm glad you're speaking out about this. I wish you the best of luck. What can we do? I would honestly recommend that if you are an animal lover and you have reticulated pythons, large snakes, venomous snakes, all the stuff that is on the chopping block right now, you need to start letting Animal Planet know that you do not want to be seen in that light anymore, and they need to stop portraying animal keepers this way, because it's got to come to a head. It has to. You cannot sit here and allow them to attack one of our own, somebody in our community like this, and just do it and get away with it. That's really, it's not cool, Animal Planet. It's not cool. Can
you just change this picture?
Yeah,
this is really bothering me. Put Danny back on.
Danny, we had Winston Card's picture up in the background.
Fine.
Now we have a picture
of you and your,
we have a picture of you and your beautiful family.
Jesus Christ, I'm getting hot flashes.
Sorry,
dude. Getting furious at this guy.
It really is frustrating, man, and because they're picking on the little guy here. They're using their money and their pull to pick on the little guy here, and there's no reason for it. Danny, what can we do for you?
The thing that I just want to do the most is get the word out there, because this was a pilot. I was the only person that has told me anything is Tristan from the Kentucky Reptile Zoo. The film company completely stopped talking to me. They wouldn't respond to any messages. It took me, I think, 8 months to get copies of my contracts.
Wow.
I had no idea when it was airing, if it would be aired, but she kept up with me the entire time and, told me everything I needed to know. But that was the pilot, and apparently the February 15th airing, the first time it aired in the U.S., it won the ratings for that weekend on Animal Planet. The second time we got triple the hate mail. It was on at 7, so I'm pretty sure, it did pretty well then, too. So I'm sure they're going to try to make a series out of it. And I just want people to know, that if they do contact you about that, to not get into that. Save yourself a lot of trouble and a lot of headaches, and just say no to it. That they will sucker you in, and it seems great at first, but it turns into a nightmare.
No good can come of it.
Wow.
Absolutely. Look at Danny. Look at his story. Listen to his story, people. You're not going to be a TV star.
No,
You're only going to get screwed.
Now, while we have Danny on the show right now, Danny was, I imagine, growing up, Crocodile Hunter was a major influence in your life, yeah?
Yeah, I actually, I've never cried as much for anybody that has died when I did, when Steve Irwin cried. I actually have his DVD of the funeral that the memorial service they had at the Australia Zoo, and I've never been able to watch the full thing.
Yeah. It's a tough one to get through, and the reason why I bring it up is because, we've had many discussions here, in the studio, on the chat room, even on Facebook, about just how completely 180-degree Animal Planet has turned since the death of Steve Irwin. And we were all in agreement that shows like this would not have, for lack of a better term, been possible, unfortunately, without Steve's death, because he was their shining star. He was the one who brought the kids in, the families in. And now they're trying to turn it around so completely against his vision of how he wanted people to view the animals. And I got to applaud you, man. I don't know how you put up with it for 4 weeks. I think after week 1, I probably would have lost my shit.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
I don't think that they would. I don't think he would have allowed it. I think if they tried that when he was alive, that he would have stepped up. He would have said something about it. And that's the biggest thing that I get every single day from anybody that sees my pictures on Facebook. My kids are a part of reptiles are a part of our life. Our vacations are booked around reptile shows.
Awesome.
That's what we do. That's our family time. And they're around reptiles. They know reptiles. Steve Irwin had his kids around reptiles all the time, and those are some awesome kids right now. So he's more of a reptile expert than Winston Card would ever compare. He couldn't even be remotely compared to Steve Irwin. So if Steve Irwin thought it was okay to have your kid around those types of animals, then I'm siding with him.
Very well said. Danny Steele, everybody.
And one quick last thing. We have someone here in the chat room, Danny, that you did a program for. You came to their house this afternoon and I guess put on a little show for them. A woman by the name of Carrie.
And what's she saying? Did he rock? Did he rock or did he suck? Is she calling Winston Card instead? No, I'm kidding, Danny. I'm kidding.
He was horrible. He was uninformed. He was babbling. No, she loved you. She thought you were awesome.
Awesome. Danny, keep up the good work, man. That's what you got to do is just put your head down. Keep on trying to put the hobby in a positive light with your beautiful animals and your beautiful family and how much they love the animals and how much a part of your family they are because, they are. These animals are part of your family. Obviously, it's what you guys like to do. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing a great job and keep your head up. And if you need anything, let us know. Urban Jungles Radio and its Jungle Junkies are here for you, man.
Absolutely.
All right.
Take care, Danny. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you.
All right, Danny Steele, everybody. Damn, that's just crazy.
I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around it, man.
Yeah, I have to honestly. I gotta take a shot or something because it's just driving me crazy. It's ridiculous that this could happen to somebody who likes their animals. I mean, that's really all the guy's guilty of is just liking his animals. I mean, just being proud about them. You have to realize it's the fact that Animal Planet is, without a doubt, the animal lover's biggest enemy. It's a propaganda machine for the Humane Society, and they're biased. There's no doubt in my mind. As a matter of fact, I know this through conversations with people, that they are biased because they have no problems telling you how horrible you are for keeping reptiles as pets or other exotics as pets, but will run ads for Rattlesnake Republic all fucking day long because that's okay.
Yep.
You can't keep snakes in your house. You can't love them. You can't appreciate and respect them. But you can go out and you can hunt them and glorify chopping their heads off, skinning them, letting little kids do it, put your bloody handprints on the body, and then showing the beating heart to Japanese tourists who are going to pay you $10 for their bile. That's okay, Animal Planet, really? But, some guy who has animals in his collection and includes his family in on it, you're going to go and target him with some douchebag, washed-up guy who's calling himself a herpetologist who's not? I mean, just please, people, if you're ever going to listen to anything I tell you here on Urban Jungles Radio, listen to this, okay? And I don't mean this in a bad way, but you will never be a TV star through Animal Planet. And why would you even want to be on such a shitty network?
Those days are long gone.
Done.
Long gone.
History. Whatever Animal Planet was, whatever attracted you to Animal Planet, whatever keeps you tuning into them, that's gone. You are just paying the Humane Society by watching it. You are putting money in everybody's pockets, and they are all profiting off of the demise of what we love to do in our hobby. Yep. More people have access to the internet than to these channels, yes, to premium channels like Animal Planet, Discovery, History, whatever. So if you really want to be a TV star, you really want to be a star and reach the masses, pull a Brian Barczyk. Put together a goddamn interesting show, build an audience, and then go about it that way. Because Brian Barczyk,
calm down.
Brian Barczyk reaches more people in a month, savvy animal people in a month, yes, than Animal Planet does, in 6. I guarantee it, because his audience is so focused. So you want to be a TV star? Stay the hell away from Animal Planet. Stay the hell away from any production company that comes your way trying to make you a star or trying to highlight something you love. It's not going to happen. They are going to screw with you. So what you need to do is you need to avoid and boycott Animal Planet and its sponsors like the plague. Take some control of the crap on TV that your kids and millions of other kids who don't know any better around the world are exposed to, because at least if you know enough to keep your kids away from that bullshit, do it and then spread the word and let everybody else know that what they're watching is complete crap. Because the majority of the people that these TV shows try to pass off as experts are nothing but jokes. The real experts are working in the trenches. The real experts are working in the field. They're running their businesses. They're milking snakes. They're doing whatever needs to be. They don't have time for Animal Planet for glorification of whatever it is that they're doing, because there's no time in it. And the fact of the matter is, if you're into animals, the reality of it can be incredibly exciting, fulfilling, rewarding. It's an amazing hobby, but that will never, ever, ever transfer over to TV. You will never make the layperson feel what you feel when you are out there, herping and looking for a cool new different species, or you have some incredible propagation success with some species that nobody's ever heard of. Whatever it is, they're not going to care as much. So just get off of that. Get away from Animal Planet. Get away from History Channel. There's just nothing good. Since Steve Irwin's left, there's been nothing there. There has been nobody that I would call an expert on any of these TV shows in any capacity or any fields. The coolest guy they got is the guy with the big hair who does the alien thing. That's it. Like, other than that, everybody else is douchebags. Oh, dude, I'm like foaming at the mouth. I can't even.
I know, you need some water.
Deal with this.
Man.
We need to get off this because I already spent way too much time on. But come on, people, please don't be TV stars. It's not going to happen. Stay away from these production companies. Look, I've done it. I've been stupid enough to do it, and I regretted it tremendously. I had my arm twisted into going into a contract, and I did it, and it was stupid. I did things as a result, not on film. I didn't do anything on film, but I went forward, with things that were just ridiculous. And because of the fact that I refused to agree with any stupidity, there was nothing done, and you will never see me do anything stupid that I haven't already done. Animal Planet. But anyway, just seriously, man, stay away from these people. They offer the hobby no good. They are the enemy. They are HSUS without a doubt. They don't want to see you live in happiness with your animals at all. None.
I can't say anything. There's nothing I can say.
Urban Jungles Radio.
Walk up in the show, I'm like, what up? I got a big crock. Now I'm just pumped about some shit up at the pet shop. Ectothermic and so damn frosty. The people like,
damn, that's a cold ass honky.